financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's show is Unintended Consequences, the failure to properly plan your estate. Jenny Lingle, good to see you again.
Good to be here, Ken.
Pat Samasco.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Brian Small.
Always a pleasure.
All right, so we're going to talk today about what you need to do to go and plan your estate, and we're going to do it from the standpoint of a couple of stories of what can go wrong, and then identify what you should have done to avoid that. Scenario one, Bob and Dot. Here are the facts. This is their second marriage, but it's a long term, 25 years. So they've been together, all is well. Bob has two sons from their first marriage, Mike and Mark. They have a will, your typical revocable living trust and estate plan. And this is what it provides. Everything goes to the surviving spouse. So Bob's leaving everything to Dot, Dot's leaving everything to Bob. If both husband and wife are gone, it's provided that Bob's children gets the estate. Mike and Mark share equally. But here's the issues. Dot also has a niece and a nephew, Steve and Sally. They also have a typical durable power of attorney where each one is representing the other and can take care of their finances. And they have a health care power of attorney, so if one's hospitalized and unable to act, Bob can take care of making decisions for Dot and vice versa. Guys, Jenny, is this a common estate plan?
That's what you see every single day.
Very
every
typical.
day.
Very typical estate plan. The husband is usually in charge of the wife's health. The wife is usually in charge of the husband's health. The powers of attorney are to each other so that each one can help each other as they get older.
But I think what's important to note here is they both have people that they want to be their beneficiaries because this is the second marriage. You've got Bob, who's got children from his first marriage that he wants to protect, and Dot seems to want to protect her niece and nephew.
Or maybe Dot does. Let's say
Well, usually for the long-term marriages, especially if Dot doesn't have kids, she looks at his kids as being part of it, or she might have kids on her own. But the idea is they both have this uniform plan. We died, we want everything to go to all four kids.
Or in this case, to Mike and Mark.
But all of a sudden, when Bob dies...
Well, let's go. Yeah, let's go through that. So Bob and Dot, this is a plan of trust between the two, and with the plan that when they're both gone, Mike and Mark were supposed to get the money.
Right.
That's what they agreed to in this scenario.
Right.
But just like Jenny's pointing out, there's a difference because Mike and Mark are Bob's sons, so the loyalty, blood is thicker than, what's the expression?
Blood is thicker than water.
Okay, so here's what happens. Bob gets very sick, unfortunately has cancer and dies. Bob's funeral. Mike goes to Dot, his stepmom, and says, I'd like Dad's military uniform, his hunting and his fishing equipment. Dot was offended at the funeral that he would come to her at that time, and an argument ensued. This stuff happens.
This happened to me. This was the case that happened in my office.
So all of a sudden, Dot's angry. A couple weeks later, Dot amends her will, leaves everything to her niece and her nephew. Dot dies 6 months later. Bob's estate. It was Bob's money. It was both of their money, but Bob was the one who was the breadwinner. $2 million. Here's what happens. Had it gone according to what they had agreed upon and what was the game plan, Bob and Dot both pass away, $2 million all goes to Mike and Mark. But They had the fight over the military equipment. Dot changed her will. When Bob passed away, everything went to Dot. Dot now does a new estate plan, leaves everything to Steve and Sally, her nephew and niece. Steve and Sally inherit
Everything.
$2 million. What does Mike and Mark get?
Nothing.
They get a trip to the law office saying, we got screwed. What can we do about it?
Nothing.
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 As
That's a
long as,
big
as
problem.
long as Dot was competent at the time that she prepared her estate plan, she had the choice to do whatever she wanted to do with the money.
And same thing when Bob prepared his original estate plan, leaving it all to Dot.
That's what people don't realize is when Dad dies and it goes to Mom, it's her money. She can do whatever she wants to. And the only thing that those stepkids can do, and I talk about this a lot, how do the stepkids protect their inheritance? Be nice to their stepmom. Because if they're not nice or she finds a reason to be mad at them, they will get cut out every single time.
I guess the only other thing they can do is the stepchildren have to go back to Dad and say, you need to redo your estate plan before you pass
That's
away.
the fix.
You haven't adequately protected me. So what is the fix? How could Bob is in a second marriage.
Right.
It's a 25-year-long second marriage, but Bob needs to realize, so like you said, blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
Dot gets mad. Mike and Mark are not Dot's kids.
First thing
What
they
did he
have to
need to
do
do?
is, number one, realize that's what
The
happens.
vulnerability.
Yeah, absolutely. Number two, he has to plan for it. He can't let the kids plan for it after he passes away. So he has to address it before he dies. And the options are either naming his kids as beneficiaries immediately or prepare an estate plan where they are an ultimate beneficiary. He controls his assets.
All right, well, let me cut into it, and then we'll take a break and we'll come back to it. So I can see Bob wants to make sure Dot's provided for.
Correct.
But the issue is you want to provide for Dot while she's living.
Right.
But you don't want to give Dot the ability to take all those assets and gift them away or spend them frivolously.
Piece of cake.
You want to save it so that when Dot passes away, it's guaranteed to go to Mike and Mark.
Piece of cake.
Easy to do.
Easy.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to explore what the provisions are that need to make that happen. It's a mistake that we see happen way too often.
Correct.
We'll be back after the break.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we've got Bob and Dot. We have this situation where Mike and Mark have gotten screwed. What should they have done, Patton? How common is this problem?
Every single day. 3 times a day I see it. So Dad needs to know that he can address it. So what he does, he creates a trust agreement, and primarily it's for his big retirement account. So instead of having Mom be the beneficiary, he creates a trust agreement that says Mom's the beneficiary of the trust while she's alive. She gets the income from it. She gets the principal for identifiable standards, health, welfare, safety,
So
education.
you can invade just for those reasons.
Yeah, you can be as creative as you want, and then she dies, it goes to her kids. It goes to his kids.
So she can't take it and gift it to her niece and nephew.
Correct.
But who's the trustee?
Well, typically she's the trustee.
Wait, so if she's the trustee, she can and she has access to the money, and she can use it. What's stopping her from going and taking it all out anyway? Because it's really
Effectively violating the trust.
Well, if that's a concern, you make 2 trustees. Her and maybe one of his kids, her and his brother, her and another
attorney?
person. Yeah, her and an attorney. Well, the attorney, so if you pick her and his kid as trustee, there's some checks and balances, but then all of a sudden,
You're gonna
what's
have a
the
fight.
problem?
Well, yeah,
Well,
I mean,
the
come on.
fight.
I mean, look, Dot decides.
I'm Mark.
Dot
Right.
decides. that
Sorry,
she wants,
Dot. No trip for
yeah,
no
she wants
vacation
to
for
go
you.
on a $25,000 cruise
So
around the
what-
world.
I have a better idea. And cruises are overrated. Why don't you go to Port Huron for a weekend?
Well, that's the problem. So what you can do, you put a trust advisor language in that you pick a neutral third party that if there's a problem, that lawyer who's a trust
Makes the
advisor
decision.
can fix the problem. Or the other problem or other solution is, you know what? Carve out a certain dollar amount of Bob's estate and give it directly to his kids immediately upon Bob's
if
death.
the estate's big enough.
If
but,
it's
but
big
if
enough.
Bob's worried about there being enough money, remember, 25-year marriage, no contemplation that what happened after Bob passed away could occur. Bob says
Milo,
this could
trust
never
my wife,
happen.
Not in a million
She
years.
loves my sons
Loves
as their mother.
them,
She's their mother.
The longer that she's passed, the longer she survives him, the greater chance that those kids are getting cut out because her kids are going to get involved, or the niece and nephew, or there's going to be
She
a
could
fight
get
going.
remarried.
Financial
She can get remarried.
exploitation.
She can leave. That happened to my parents. My grandfather passed. My grandmother passed away. My grandfather remarried late to Rose, who none of us liked. Rose lived very short period of time, maybe 2 years, but during that 2-year period, she got my grandfather to sign over all of his certificates of deposit.
Oh, absolutely.
Rose then passed away, and all of the certificates of deposit went to Rose's children, who were tangential friends of my parents. I remember this. I was maybe 12, 13 years old at the time,
Right.
just hearing the story and hearing my parents complain
Oh, yeah.
how unfair this was, and that was it. They got screwed.
That doing that trust agreement not only protects the kids, even if she's a good person, easily financial exploitation comes in. So if you have it in that trust agreement.
Let's back it up. Bob and Dot were married for 25 years, and Bob passed away. I'm on a second marriage. I'm married 2 years now. I intend to be married to my current wife for the rest of my life. But how do I make sure that
You're
my
Bob.
kids
Wait.
are protected?
I'm
You're
going to do
Bob.
something. Let me do it
He's
this way.
Bob.
Wait, let me do something different. She dies first. Now you're single. You're going to stay single the rest of your life? Hell no. You're going to get remarried? Who are you going to marry? The stripper.
Great.
When you die, goes into her name. What's the chance of that stripper giving you your kids a dime? Nothing.
In fact, the stripper's going to get all
How
the
did this
money.
happen to me on the show?
Nothing
So the
for your
point
kids.
is-
Jenny,
nothing for
help me
her
out
kids.
here.
Protect
You're on
it.
your own, Brian.
If you can
Sorry,
protect
And
it,
then after you die and the stripper has all your money, I'll then marry the stripper.
there you go. And
Well,
that's
but-
what
No,
but
no,
you can
it's-
protect. When
But
you
I think
have
that
these
goes
trust
to
agreements-
show what Brian is already not thinking of, that something could happen, to him or to
Well,
Amy.
right
You could
now
get in a
I
car
have
accident.
everybody
You
protected
could-
via life insurance. That is, I mean, I have life insurance that I'm 50 years old that will carry me till I'm 78.
That's covering everyone's financial needs, but what about those assets that aren't going by way of the life insurance?
Well, at the moment, everything is going to my wife.
You're Bob.
Right, it's going to your wife, and you die, it goes to her.
It should be
and
going
she
to your wife in
remarries.
trust.
She marries the stripper.
She marries the pool boy. That's the point. You can solve all these problems as best as you can. There is no 100% solution on anything. But if you know that there's an issue, you can solve it with the correct trust agreements.
Our goal is to make sure that all 4 of our children share in whatever is left of the estate after the 2 of us are gone equally.
Everyone's goal
I want to
is
make
that.
sure that happens, but I don't want to restrict her from being able to spend money as she needs to spend it while she's alive.
It all
can't
comes
have
down,
it both.
It all comes down to that definition of what her rights are to invade the trust.
So last week I had the same conversation, and there was a big argument between the husband and wife, and they had to drive all the way back to the other side of the state. And I go, this is going to be a long drive for you. Long drive.
They didn't
Because
see
the
it the same way.
conversation, the wife does not want to be in charge with his son over the estate. So that's just a conversation
And that's
that they
his
have
check
to
and
have.
balance to protect his son.
Yeah. It's almost like talking about the prenuptial agreement. It's a horrible conversation, but they're there for a reason. The trust agreements are horrible to talk about, it not going to the 4 kids, but realizing that's what happens, and you have to just have that hard conversation.
Just one more point, and then we're going to go on to Fred and Wilma's situation. This example exists in every second marriage, but it also exists in
Every
first
first
marriages.
marriage,
Just like
absolutely.
your example with the stripper, it could be your
Wasn't
first
my
marriage.
stripper example, it was his. Don't blame it on me.
Pat's example of you
I'm
marrying
already,
the stripper.
I'm already in enough trouble, and I didn't say a darn thing.
Well, we'll do a follow-up show on Brian's divorce as a result of this show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go through another example with Fred and Wilma. We'll be back after the break.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Fav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Fav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
It's time for announcements. Want to remind our viewers to listen to us Tuesdays 11:30 and 7:30 a.m. for Law and Reality Live on Praise 102.7 FM. Then on Thursdays from 3 to 4 p.m. for Law and Reality Now with Cliff Russell on 9:10 a.m. Also, sign up for our monthly contest on our websites. Free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and copy of Dump Your Debt each month to the winner. We've got 2 seminars coming up. On Wednesday, September 13th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., it's time for the debt to fall. We're going to talk about all the methods we use of preserving future income for you and your family so that you have savings when it comes time to retire. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. You want to sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or call 888-235-HELP. Then on Wednesday, September 27th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we have a seminar, Planning for You, Mom and Dad, Before the Problems Come. This is an estate planning seminar as well as Medicaid planning seminar. We're going to talk about the problems that people encounter, the mistakes they make when it comes to estate planning, and more particularly, if your mom and dad are in their late 70s, 80s, and 90s, the prospect of nursing home care becomes a real issue, and you need to properly Medicaid plan. Pat Simasko, our elder law expert and expert on Medicaid planning and aid and attendance benefits, will be there along with Brian and myself to cover estate planning and debt planning issues for the elderly. Sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or call 888-235-HELP. Also remember, you can always sign up at Thav Gross or Law and Reality for a free consultation. Whether it's debt issues, tax issues, estate planning, business issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability or workers' compensation issues with Jeff, just go to the websites, sign up, and you can enroll, or you can always call 888-235-HELP. Also, take a look at the websites. We have 3 free reports on the websites. They're informative, available for you for free. Just go to the websites and download them and take advantage of them. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, next unintended consequence. Fred and Wilma, our old Flintstone friends. They're married, one daughter, Pebbles. She's 35 years old now. Pebbles was married to Kurt and had 3 children. So there are 3 grandchildren for Fred and Wilma. Pebbles divorces Kurt and marries Clyde. Now the first thing you guys should be asking is, what happened to Bam Bam? Anybody wondering about that?
He married the stripper.
Okay, well, Bam Bam's out of the picture. Anyway, Fred and William have an estate. Fred and Wilma have their estate plan, same kind of one that Bob and Dot had. They left everything to each other. So on the death of both, the intended consequence was, the intention was everything to go to Pebbles.
Right. And if she died, to her kids.
To her kids.
Right.
Fred and Wilma's estate, $2 million. They both pass away. Pebbles inherits $2 million. Here's the unintended consequence. 3 weeks later, Pebbles is tragically killed in a car accident. She has no estate plan. In that circumstance, her estate has $2 million in it, and she's married to Clyde. Pebbles' estate now goes by the laws of intestate succession. As her husband, Clyde is entitled to the first $100,000 and 1/2 of the balance of the estate. This means Clyde gets $1.1 million. The grandchildren are only left with the $900,000.
Right. Now, if you asked Fred and Wilma, Pebble dies, they wanted to go to the grandkids.
All $3 million.
Now, if Pebbles
all $2 million.
Pebbles, she dies, but right before she died, she did what Brian did. I put everything in my husband's name because when my husband dies, it'll go to our three kids.
Then they get zero.
They get nothing, and that's the biggest problem. You have to plan for that because if Pebbles dies and it goes to Clyde, is Clyde staying married?
No.
And who's he going to marry?
The stripper.
He's going to marry the stripper. And that's where it's outside of the family.
We
Or the
apologize
worst
to
thing-
all of the people watching this show if you're offended
And
about the
the
concept
other
of
worst thing
a
is,
stripper.
those grandkids get it. Let's assume the grandkids do get the $2 million. It goes to them at age 18.
And they're too young.
Well, then they're going to buy Corvettes.
Oh, my God. Horrible.
Multiple Corvettes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has to be in probate until the age of 18. So what should have been done,
Fred and Wilma needed to do what?
they should have done an estate plan that says it goes to Pebbles
In trust.
in trust. If she dies, it goes to the grandkids. Not if she dies before my parents. If there's money left in that trust, it goes to the grandkids.
And she can only use that money for reasonable support and
income,
maintenance.
principal if she needs it. She can be in charge because she's a good kid. If she divorces Clyde, it's not her money, it's the trust money. If
That
she goes
protects her against Clyde,
Yes.
and it protects the grandchildren against
yes,
Pebbles,
because
making a
it's
foolish
not
mistake.
her money, it goes down to the grandkids.
And then in the grandchildren, the trust provides there again, the
Same
kids
thing.
don't get the money at age 18. It stays
Right.
in trust. We give it out to them a third, and third. We protect it against. We also protect it against their creditors.
Absolutely.
Suppose the grandchildren have debt, and
Well,
they're
then-
looking
then
at a
if-
Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
You've got to have
Spendthrift
protection limit.
trust with discretionary language to the trustee in that trust. Otherwise, a bankruptcy trustee could get to the money.
That's the language that you have in trust. And we keep picking on the strippers. Strippers aren't get married. Brian would marry this really nice lady. She says, I'm going to leave it to your kids. It'll be there. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And after 5 years after you pass away, she's going to cut your kids out and going to give it to someone
Absolutely.
else.
Dot was not a stripper.
No,
Bob and
she
Dot
was
was
the
just they had a
nicest
happy
even if
marriage
she-
25 years
Maybe
later.
she was.
Maybe she was.
In a previous life or in a next life,
There's
you never
nothing
know.
wrong with it. The point is, if you don't plan for those contingencies, and it happens every single, the people that are going to get your money are those family members.
So let me wrap it up. You need to plan appropriately, and it's not just doing an estate plan where husband leaves it all to wife. You need to think generationally. You need to think about
You
whether
need to
your
know a
children
lawyer that
and
knows
their
how to do
grandchildren.
this. There's so many lawyers that pretend to do this
You got to
stuff.
do it the right way. Have a
need
great
to.
week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.